I guess we must speak of Impact. I was trying to just
your opinion,
bring some jollity into this show before we actually had to discuss this program. As everybody knows, I lost my mind last week, and
I think you came to your senses.
I determined that what I needed to do was enjoy this show, no matter what. And so there were a lot of suggestions on the board, and one of them was actually a fabulous suggestion. The person said, what you need to do is pretend that the goal of Impact is to make no money. The goal of the promotion is to do no buys. So every time they do something stupid, you give them great praise. And every time that they do something good, you bury them. And I thought, that's fucking brilliant. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to play TNA No Buys.
So the goal of this program is to turn viewers away and make no money.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to look at it as a success. Unfortunately, the problem was, as the show got going, I realized, I'm actually enjoying the show. It pains me to say that, but I am enjoying Impact this week, and it's really putting a fucking damper on my game here. So I wrote this report that I guess you'll all just have to read. I don't know what the fuck it is, and I'm not rewriting it.
Who cares?
Seriously, who cares?
Well, if it makes you feel better, I hated the show.
I don't know how you could have hated the show. This show was filled with so much greatness.
I remember we discussed this very briefly. I mentioned I hated the show, and you said it was better than last week. And on the drive home, I thought there was more good stuff on this show than the show last week.
There was nothing of any value last week.
Yes, there
wasn't
was
a single thing.
I can't. There were moments of good quality television on this episode of Impact, and I cannot say that about last week's show.
When you said that this show was bad, I was just gobsmacked. I was like, did he fucking watch the show last week that caused me to lose my mind, and he thinks this is a fucking bad show? This fucking show had the Briefcase gimmick with music.
And you just labeled that as good.
This fucking show had Kevin Nash being Kevin Nash.
That was good. That was awesome.
This show had great stuff on it, unfortunately. It pains me to say that, and I'm not playing the game here. All right, let's review it. I'll do what I can. So, we had the opening video package, which made no sense.
I watch Impact every week, and I had no idea what this video recap was about. So, this is a success, then.
It is a no-buy success.
This is a no-buy success. Followed immediately by another no-buy success, wherein they panned the crowd, as you've seen in every wrestling show forever, except this is TNA, and so I'm not making this up. They were cutting to the crowd shot so quickly I couldn't read any of the signs.
Yes.
Success!
They panned so quickly you could not read what anybody had written when they asked them to hold their signs up for TV. Oh, what jackasses. So Christian cut a promo, and I was getting ready to just fucking bury this, because he goes, last week, people said I got what I deserved on Impact. And I thought, you ain't going to say what happened, are you? Because I don't remember. You're just going to come out here and you're going to talk like we all remember what the fuck happened last week. To my amazement, Christian explained that last week on Impact, he had been sucker punched by Kurt Angle and beaten down by Robert Roode. And I was like, I remember that! Amazing.
Wow.
This completely amazed me. So, anyway, he told us he was a prick. And he said tonight there was going to be a tag match. Robert Roode and Angle versus Christian and a mystery partner. TNA wasn't big enough for him and Kurt. Out came Kurt and Robert Roode. And they agreed to the match. And Angle said, good luck finding a partner because everybody in this company hates you. And he said they were at war. And then Robert Roode was yelling and screaming. And all I remember is during this, Robert Roode was like being really great. And I thought, unsuccessful.
He is an awfully great entertainer. Yes, it is. Christian came out and he said, some people said I deserved that beat down last week. Don said, he really should have seen it coming. And I thought, what the hell is this man talking about? What were the clues? And then it hit me like a ton of bricks to the face. It's fucking TNA. Everyone gets beat up by their partners all the time.
Yes.
He, in fact, should have seen this coming. So chalk that one up to Don. He was right. Let's see. So, yes, Christian vowed that people called him a prick, and it was true. And he wasn't changing. He was set in his ways. He was going to be a prick forever. He was defiantly vowing to be a prick and to stand up to oppression. And it was the kind of rebel badass stuff that someone like maybe Austin would have done, except that no one cared about Christian. They booed and chanted, "You suck." So I thought, wow, that's the worst face turn I ever saw. So the crowd's booing Christian. Angle comes out. He is also booed, and I thought, this is just a disaster. Now, I will say the one thing. When this promo ended, I knew exactly what the main event of this program was going to be. That's a rarity in TNA, and for the purposes of this review, I must dub this a failure.
Yes. But if their goal, well, let's just move on. So
there was one more thing. I almost neglected this. Rude has the mic, and he's cutting this promo, and he's awesome, but he tells Christian, basically, you're not the boss of me anymore. They were together for like 3 weeks.
Yes.
Why should we care?
We don't.
No, we don't at all.
No buys. No money. So then we had an AJ Tomko segment where Tomko said they needed to choose sides in this war. They actually reviewed the history of Feast or Fire, believe it or not, a recap segment. Then we had the generic blonde chick interviewing Petey Williams. Jack to his gills, pumping up, jumping up and down. He said the 4 dudes with briefcases were going to grapple. The winner had the option of either keeping his briefcase, trading it for somebody else's, or handing it to the office for $50,000. And he said $50,000 is nothing to him because in the world of bodybuilding, he could win Mr. Saskatchewan and get 1/10 of that. He said he was 110% certain that his briefcase had the world title shot in it. And, by the way, Petey's supposed to be a babyface for all you wondering.
That's impossible.
No.
That cannot be true.
I've actually got a TNA script.
Really?
A legit one.
It must be 8 inches thick.
I will email it to you, and you will laugh till you cry. We will discuss this in the newsletter this coming week and more, but it's money.
So, yes, first of all...
I'm not done yet.
Sorry.
So, I have to say that Petey Williams entertained me in every single thing he did this week. It's so goofy. It's no buys. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
No one's paying to watch him do his lame Arnold impression?
No one is paying a single dime for this. But goddamn, it entertained me. So that's half the battle. I turned the corner.
He entertained me greatly in the match. This promo is lame. The Arnold Schwarzenegger gimmick is lame. Although at least the interviewer chick, unlike every other interviewer chick in the world, she knows when something is lame and rolls her eyes at it.
She does.
So that was good. But, yes, and also, you're welcome, Brian, for explaining the stipulations of that later match to you, because you had no idea what was going on.
I did have no idea,
you were
actually.
lost at sea.
I had no idea. PD, BG, Scott Steiner, and Chris Daniels. We had a pose down between Scott Steiner and Petey Williams the day the Mitchell report came out. That was awesome. So, and Hermie Sadler on commentary, which was also great. So, anyway, they had the match, and Petey hit the Canadian Destroyer on Daniels, and then Steiner picked him up and gave him a belly-to-belly for the pin. It was Steiner's turn to make a decision. He said $50,000 was a lot of money, which he could share with his freaks out there, but he wanted his world title shot. Shitty babyface. And so he chose Petey's briefcase because Petey had said with 110% certainty that he had a world title shot in his briefcase. So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this was, in fact, a fun match. The first thing I wrote down when I looked at these 4 men was, what the hell is Petey Williams going to do with Scott Steiner and B.G. James? And the answer is, he's going to be awesome with Scott Steiner. He had the, as you noted, the pose down, which Scott Steiner won. And then Petey began to steal Scott Steiner's moves right in front of him. That was entertaining stuff. And this is a actual fun match. Therefore, failure.
We got, after commercial, it was time to open up a briefcase. Petey got to go first, said he might vomit. Briefcase was open, and he got the TNA heavyweight title shot. So Scott had turned down $50,000 and lost a world title shot. Dipshit.
He was a stupid man, yes. This was, Brian, I know you've never seen the show Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal.
It looks exactly like this, complete with the wacky lighting and the stupid dramatic music. Here's the thing. I hate that show. I don't want to watch the show. I sure as hell don't want to watch it on wrestling.
I do.
If I wanted to watch Deal or No Deal, I would go watch Deal or No Deal. Maybe I'm weird that way.
It's funny on wrestling. They should have done like, it should have been like on The Price is Right where they had the mountain climber. Now that was a fucking game. And they could have used Petey.
If they had Petey Williams playing Plinko, that I would have watched.
This was great. So anyway, then we had Crystal interviewing Kaz. And he talked about Chuck Norris and Relic.
Yes, so
and then this became the stupidest thing I've ever seen, which made it awesome. Because it was a true... Kaz was basically talking, and Christian came up and commanded him to be his partner tonight. He basically said, you owe me for putting you over.
It's almost exactly what he said, yes.
and Kaz said, let's not rush into things. Let's pray. Close your eyes. And when Christian closed his eyes, the babyface Kaz ran off in fear. You think I'm kidding? Pure shit.
Well,
Success!
yes, this is undoubtedly complete success. I also like when he called Relic Darth Maul and then said, oops, I mean Relic, to make sure we all got the joke. Ha ha. This was a horrible segment and such a raging success.
Relic and Kaz opened up, no shit, with Don West telling us that Relic was killer spelled backwards. Why is it so important that we're told it every week? I've got to get somebody on the show to explain this to me.
They won't enjoy Relic unless they know it's killer spelled backwards.
Why is it so important? Fools!
Who could watch this show?
So they went to commercial during this match. This one. And Mike Tenay said, and I quote, more with Relic and Kaz when we come back.
And I was going to say viewers around the country turned the channel, but the truth is they weren't watching. They left the TV off.
More with Relic and Kaz. They actually had a decent match, and then when it was over, Black Rain hit the ring with his mouse and put it in a bag, and then put the bag on Kaz's head. And then it was wiggling.
Okay.
And it was to the back.
To the back, okay. Lost in all the silliness that we've had with Relic over the last 6 weeks, he ain't bad. There's nothing wrong with Relic in the ring. I like watching Relic. So they had this match, and I enjoyed it, and so I thought, failure. Then Black Rain came out, as you noted. He took advantage of the tired Frankie Kazarian. He sat Frankie Kazarian down in front of him, and he grabbed his spike. The Darkness Falls, as Don West is always sure to have it. It can't just be Black Rain spike. It has to be the Darkness Falls. He holds the spike up over his head. Frankie responds by looking up at the spike, holding his hands up, and waving, no, no, no. He did not try to run away. He did not try to block the spike. He did not grab Dustin's leg and pull him down. No. He had all these options at his disposal, but he was apparently so paralyzed by fear that he could merely sit there and accept the spike into his forehead. And then there was the as you mentioned, the bullshit with the mouse, where they put the mouse in the bag, they put the bag on his head, and Don West, or maybe even today, one of them said, the rat is going to work inside the bag. So apparently it ate his eyes. So this went from a mild failure to an epic success.
Now, as I speak of this next segment, I know Flair Pinned Me is listening, who spent money on a shout-out Monday to talk about how sexist I was, called herself my former lover. Get real. Flair Pinned Me, listen to me. I know you didn't watch the pay-per-view. I know you probably don't even watch Impact. I don't even know if you can in the land that you come from. But the point is, I was right. When I had the epiphany that Velvet Sky and Angelina Love had the gimmick that they were amateur porn stars, I was so fucking correct. No one believed me. Maybe a few people did.
They made it abundantly clear in this promo.
They cut a promo here, which, by the way, was incomparably bad. Nothing on this show even came close to how bad this was. But they did an interview, and they revealed that they were, in fact, amateur porn stars.
They said they had experience in hotels and beds across America.
Yes, that is exactly what they said. I was so fucking right here, it's not even funny.
Yeah. Then they
I saw this before anybody.
And they had to get this match over with in a hurry because they had an appointment later. They were going to boink someone.
Yes. So.
They are, in fact, amateur porn. Well, perhaps they're getting paid. They may be professional porn stars.
They may be.
Regardless, they do pornography.
Then we had an interview with Jackie, James Storm, Robert Roode, and Tracy.
This was awesome.
Jackie was snookered and called the two amateur porn stars we had just referenced two bimbo whores. She poured beer down Tracy's top. Tracy went nuts, but Roode told her to stop being a bitch because you never talk down to a veteran. I laughed.
That was a great moment. I also like, as Jackie was being a drunken fool, James Storm said, that's what I like about her, that and them boobies. And then after she poured beer down Tracy's shirt, She immediately she being Jackie, leapt in the air, bounced their chests together, and James Storm announced, that's called the booby bounce. That move has a name. So between the beer and the breasts, this segment was an easy thumbs up and thus a failure.
Jackie Moore and Miss Brooks against Team Prawn. It's her new name. Jackie worked the match drunk, so she is truly a veteran. Beat the shit out of the porn chicks. And just Velvet looked like she was being killed. And Tracy ended up bumping into Jackie. Sky rolled her up for the pin. I had way too much fun watching this match. And I was going to give it a fail, but then afterwards, Jackie and Tracy got into a fight.
Because everyone on TNA must fight with their partner.
Yes. Robert Roode came out, told Jackie to hit the bricks. Tracy was smitten like he'd saved her, but then Roode cut a promo on her, calling her stupid and useless. And then Charmel came out and was jaw-jacking with Robert Roode, and he started screaming at her and threatened to beat her up, and then Booker made the save. And it actually all made sense in the end, so I can't bury it. But or it will make sense in the end. It didn't necessarily make sense completely today, but in the end it will make sense, so there you go.
The porn stars, they do have cool music. And I mentioned this because on Monday I said, boy, Jim Neidhart had cool music tonight. And then the next day, somebody emailed it to me. So thank you very much, Ian. It's cool. I appreciate that. Somebody sent me the porn stars music. It's cool. So then, as you know, they're doing the post-match stuff. And like you say, the match was there. I could not rate it a success or a failure. I could merely watch and observe. And then the partners started to fight at the end, which makes it an automatic success because I am so sick of that in TNA. And Don West said, it's hard to watch. And he was right. It's hard to watch this shit every week. I'm so tired of the partners fighting. And then the Booker and Charmel stuff came out, and that was fine.
And we had a segment that please somebody get a drop of this entire segment. Christian went to talk to Nash, who was napping. Yes. Kevin Nash was asleep during Impact. Kevin Nash showed up at the building. The tapings began, and he fell asleep.
He started reading the paper and fell asleep with the paper on top of him.
I love this man. So,
it gets better.
Christian wanted him to be his partner. And Nash said, well, I'm sorry, I'm busy tonight. And Christian said, busy doing what? And Nash says, what I do best. Sit around, do nothing, and get paid. Ha, ha, ha.
It was the part that made it. He laughed at himself. He laughed at the station he had earned in life.
Yes.
Of getting paid to sit around and do nothing.
I can't even begin to do justice to this, so we need to get a drop. So then Christian wanted to know where to get a partner, and Nash said, down there. And Christian said, down where? And Nash said, down here! And he pointed at his crotch and cackled and laughed like a
he laughed until he was going to fall over. Yeah,
he did, and then he just kind of stumbled out of the room.
That's as you just stumbled and spilled water all over us. You're channeling Kevin Nash here. You're cackling and spilling shit.
This was the best segment in the history of Impact.
Yes, and then Christian, the interviewer chick was laughing at Kevin, and Christian pointed out to her, you were an 11-year-old with gray hair. So that was great. I should also note that Christian came in here. He walked into Nash's room, and he woke Nash up. He wanted, of course, to be Nash's friend, and so he tried to impress him by singing the NWO theme song. And he failed. I realized Christian was often working Monday nights during the Monday Night Wars. He may have never actually watched Nitro, but he does not know how to do the NWO theme song. So thankfully, Kevin Nash was there. He corrected it. Everything was okay. This segment was, in fact, awesome. We watched it about 5 times, laughing harder and harder every time. This was an epic failure of the greatest degree, because this is a segment that was so great that not only would anyone turn away, this is the kind of thing that would make you turn to your friends and say, you got to watch Impact tonight. You must see the bit with Christian and Kevin Nash. It's awesome. Bryan is sufficiently dried off the desk. Disaster appears to have been averted. Should we go on with the show? We'll go on with the show. Jim Mitchell came out. He was looking sharp this evening. He came out of the ring, and he immediately called out Chris Abyss. Abyss came out. The fans chanted, let's go Abyss, or come on Abyss, or something. But the point is, they did not sing the Abyss song. I missed the Abyss song. If you're listening and you go to the Impact Zone, if you're going to these shows, you must sing the Abyss song, and you must get the other fans to join in with you. There are a few things in TNA that make me happy. The Abyss song is one of them. Please, bring that back. So Mitchell, he ran down.
I've never noticed until right now how much you yell during this show. You're an inch away from a microphone, and you're screaming and ranting and raving.
Would you like me to go back to my original monotone days?
Well, no.
Okay, then.
Wait a second.
Yes.
You've only got extremely loud or monotone.
My volume is on or off.
Jeez.
There's no degree of control.
All right, will you go on?
All right, then. Well, so yes. Mitchell, he called Abyss out. Abyss came down. He wanted Abyss to take a seat. Abyss refused. Mitchell said, what, am I going to beat you up? Abyss still refused, so Mitchell said, fine. Mitchell pointed out that he and Abyss were family. He pointed out that over a year ago, they had revealed the secret that Abyss watched his mother shoot his father. He now wanted Abyss to reveal the rest of the secret. Abyss refused and said, you do it. And Abyss said, no, they won't believe me because of Sting. Which is kind of an odd moment there because Sting is, for the time being, gone.
What are you talking about? Abyss didn't say a single word during this entire thing.
He said he gestured that he wanted Mitchell to say it. And Mitchell said, I can't say it, they won't believe me. That part is true. So anyway.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
You're boring me.
Fine.
And this segment sucked. They did a bunch of shit, and then Messias came out and beat up Abyss and hit him with a bunch of unprotected chair shots, and I decided this company deserves to die. Fail!
Yeah,
a legit fail.
Abyss's hands were tied behind his back. So I cannot give a thumbs down to any segment with Jim Mitchell doing a promo. So
well, I gave a thumbs down to this one. He could have fucking given a promo in Latin, and I would have given it a thumbs down.
Thumbs down for the stupid violence.
We had Booker cutting a promo backstage about how he wanted to beat Robert Roode's ass. And then Christian snuck in and said, well, we've never seen eye to eye, but I need a partner tonight, and happens to be with Robert Roode. And Booker said, nope, I'll never be a partner, and stormed off. So write that down, kids. Chris Harris came out and bitched that Christian never asked him to be the partner, and they're clearly building a feud with him and Angle. God knows why. The most boring fucking guy on the entire show. And meanwhile, James Storm, the Shawn Michaels of this Rockers breakup duo, is stuck. I don't know what he was doing tonight in that stupid. I don't know what he was
drinking beer with Jackie.
Drinking beer with Jackie. Should be doing more than that. So, anyway, we had Booker T and Chris Harris, which Booker T won clean with the axe kick. Hell of a career for that Chris Harris. And then Mike Tenay alerted us it was Booker T post-match celebration time, which it was.
He celebrated after his match. Yes, indeed.
Time for the second briefcase to be opened. BG James got to go. He got the tag title match. Moraj said, you and your partner, Kip James, must be happy. And BJ said, my partner has yet to be determined. Because, of course, you guessed it, they're fighting.
They are fighting. And that makes this segment, Brian, a success. It drove viewers away and made no money. I also like that they gave away the world title shot in the first of these briefcase dealies. So now no one cares about the X Division title or the tag title. Now they can only lose.
Well, they figured that the main event was being fired.
I guess so.
Jay Lethal and Johnny Devine in a lumberjack strap match. Lumberjacks were wearing lumberjack shirts. We had a heel out numbered 8-1. Lethal pinned him. And I noticed during this match, I finally figured it out. They always put a commercial in the middle of these 5-minute matches. You'll get 1 minute, a 3-minute commercial break, and another 1 minute. Because they don't want wrestling on this show. The whole goal is to have no wrestling on the show. So when they have to have wrestling, they put a commercial to cut out 3 minutes of a 5-minute match. It's actually rather fascinating when you watch it. But
regardless, this was...
Which would make it a success in the game we're playing, because why would you buy a pay-per-view to get wrestling matches when this is the shit that you see for free?
That's also true.
I have no answer for you. So, afterwards, all the X Division guys beat on Divine.
Yes, they tortured him.
They did.
10 men got in the ring. They took their beaten foe. They held him and turned slashing him. This was torture. This is frowned on by the UN.
Then the Team 3D came out, and Divine ran for his life, so it was now 8-on-2, advantage babyfaces. Team 3D bailed, which caused Don West to say, and I quote, you know they didn't have enough stones to go in there to face the entire X Division. They're pussies because they would not take an 8-on-2 fight.
This show sucks so much, Dick. It's so bad. It's so incomprehensibly bad. There was actually a segment before this that I hated even more than this. Dustin Rhodes was cutting a promo. Not God. Black Rain, Dustin Rhodes. Okay. It was very, very short. He accused Black Rain of drinking his milk. Suddenly, Kaz showed up and began to pummel him, and then they cut away.
Yes.
There's nothing more to it than that. This was a monumental success.
Just such shit.
God.
It's actually amazing that you even bother putting something like that on the air. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why bother?
But you filmed that and thought, this 23 seconds of television right here is going to make us so much money. It's going to entertain people. No. No one's going to like it. No one's going to pay for it. It's just going to make people like me angry.
Time to open the last briefcase. Daniels got to go. said he'd given his heart and soul to the company, and he was confident that the X Division title shot would be his. Steiner said he was in a no-win situation. He didn't want the X title, and he didn't want to be fired. Although he did say that there's no way that Jim Cornette would have the balls to fire him. He said PD lied to him, and there's no lying in wrestling.
That's right.
Vowed to get the briefcase back from PD. Borat said they had extra security to escort the fired man out of the building, never to wrestle in TNA again. So they open it up, and Daniels was fired.
When we say fired, there was a giant card the size of the briefcase that said, "Fired," F-I-R-E-D, exclamation point, all in giant red letters. They needed streamers to fly out of it.
They should have, or fireworks.
Whee!
So, crowd sang the goodbye song. He wept.
Yes.
They dragged him out, and as he was being dragged away, all of a sudden we heard, "To the back!"
To the back. There was more to come, but yes.
That was the end of his career.
That was the end of his career. Here's Chris Daniels, been in TNA since day one, since, I believe, match 1. I believe he was in the first TNA match of all time. And, yes, it was such a big deal when he was fired that the crowd sang the na-na-na, hey-hey, goodbye song, and then to the back. Sucks to be you, Chris. Bad. I also like, Scott Steiner said, when he said that Petey lied to him, and he said he had the case of the title shot, whereas, in fact, Scott did, and now Petey had it, Scott vowed to get the case back. So you're telling me that after the Battle Royal, and then 2 more weeks of Impact to see who won the damn title match, we still don't know. Scott Steiner still has a chance to recover the briefcase from Petey Williams and get his title match back. This show fucking sucks a dick.
Why does that anger you, of all things?
It's the accumulation of everything.
Who cares now? This should last till next year's November pay-per-view.
This show angered me.
Just keep going on and on forever. See, now you're acting irrational. I was irrational.
I don't deny
week.
that. I do not deny that. I think you were acting rationally last week.
No.
Last week you made sense for the first time in a year.
No. Last week I got so angry that I ended up getting sick. That's bad.
Oh, please.
So, then we had... oh, by the way, I'd just like to note, as far as just the stupidity of TNA as an organization in storyline, as soon as the briefcase opened and it said fired, I just sat there and I thought, if this was real, why would a worldwide pro wrestling organization want to book a match where any one of their stars on the entire roster, completely at random, would have to be fired?
Yes.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
In storyline, they're retarded. The gimmick of TNA, the company, is they suck.
Now think about this. What if I did a contest on the website, and it was going to come down to 2 people, and one person was going to win, like, a free year subscription, and one person was just going to be canceled, and they could never sign up again. So I'd lose money on the deal double. I'd have to give a free year, and I'd lose out on the money on the guy that gets canceled. Who the fuck would ever do that?
I don't know.
The answer is TNA. They thought this was a brilliant idea. At random, a man will be fired, and it ended up being Chris Daniels. What if it had been their champion? Realize he wasn't in the match, but come on now. Just idiocy.
Yes. Show sucks.
Angle and Robert Roode versus Christian and himself, since he had no partner. I'm going to ask this question again because I didn't get an answer yet. Is Spike TV fucking up repeatedly, or did this show... Is Impact regularly going off the air late now, and I need to start setting my DVR? Because it's now been, I think, 2 weeks in a row where at about the 7 minutes till the end of the show, somewhere around there, they've gone off the air. I have no idea what happened in this match. They beat on Christian forever. Nobody ended up coming out to be his partner, I believe is what ended up happening. They pinned him, but I don't know because...
It took them long enough to get there.
Angle was doing German suplexes and the DVR cut off. I don't know why. Somebody help me out here.
God intervened and saved me.
But again, it's not like I care when it's on the Ultimate Fighter finale or Raw.
Right.
I don't care.
You would snap.
No, the show ended and I deleted it.
There was a moment of confusion and hesitation, and then you shrugged and went, "Oh well."
Yeah.
I took it as a sign from God. Thank you, God, for not making me watch any more of this. Yes, you had a 2-on-1 handicap match with the guy in the handicap situation facing 2 men was the guy who earlier on the show had vowed to be a prick and said he was better than all the fans, and so they hated him. You may be stunned, but there was not a lot of heat for this. No. And also, this was actually where you made the observation, because they got the heat on Christian during the break. And by this point, after 2 hours of bullshit, I flipped. I screamed, why did they get the heat on during the break? And you made it very clear. They hate wrestling.
They don't want any wrestling on the show. So no matter how many stupid segments they have to take a commercial between, they got to take a commercial during all the matches.
Yes. So while there was great stuff in the show in Christian and Nash, and there's some other good stuff like James Storm, I think it was one of the matches I liked. On the whole, this show was a gigantic success.
I give the show 2 thumbs up. Well, that would be a lie. I give it 1 thumbs up. I can't justify 2. Thumbs up, TNA. Good job this week.
Fuck off, TNA. Die.